All right, good morning, gentlemen. Oh man, hope everybody enjoyed that little Bitcoin beatdown overnight there. Um, Go ahead and start out with the most important factor here, and I've been talking about this for a couple of days now. That just looked like it was starting to bottom out. So Bitcoin dominance, I mean, it basically happened exactly the way I said it would. We got this support bounce here. Was hopeful we'd maybe get a bearish retest, but that did not end up being the case. As is typical with the crashing pattern, once the 21 moves through the 200, you tend to get a bounce here. What I'm going to expect now is that at some point here over the course of the next, say, I mean, this is what going to be 3 segments of 4 hour time here. Within that time period, I expect this thing to get pushed down again. And again, that's just typical of a crashing pattern. You get the 50 moving over the 200, and you're going to get that next push down. I anticipate it should end up happening. And we got 2.5 hours left on this 4 hour segment. I'd like to think it will take place immediately after. But then after that, I anticipate if that even happens, because if you take a look here, in the RSI, we've got this downward trending line here. This is the color I use for my 4 hour charts. It's been respecting that line here. The RSI has already broken out of it. So it could be something where this is signaling, hey, it's going to happen, and maybe we do get this push down from the 50 moving average first. So perhaps it almost looks like a retest on this before moving back to the upside. So that's what I'm going to look for. I'm going to hope that that plays out that way, that the next 4 hour segment pulls back to this line before pushing up. That's going to give you a chance to exit any long positions you might have open. And that would probably be my suggestion. Next time, I feel like as far as it goes, Mateo was giving me shit about calling it the other day when I said, "Hey, Bitcoin put in the lower high," and then all of a sudden I see all these, man, I got this much percentage return. Hey, that's cool, but definitely recommend next time that if we start putting in a lower high, we're looking at Bitcoin dominance and it looks like it's bottoming. It's probably time just to go ahead and exit longs, even if you leave one day of profits on the table. It's probably for the better. Um, Either case, that's Bitcoin dominance. That's what I'm seeing there. Now, since this is a downtrend, um, as far as this period to here, simple fact of the matter is this is possibly hidden bearish divergence, which again would lend credence to the idea that this thing is going to break back down into here to retest before you really want to make sure you exit out of these positions. But we'll see. Can't say for sure just yet, but that's what I see at the moment. Okay, so yeah, let's turn our attention. Bitcoin pricing action directly, 4 hour chart here. Just kind of recapping what we've seen over the last few days here. So we had our uptrend going, awesome. We're respecting that line here, 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 and more or less here. Um, as far as that part goes, keeping in mind, I mentioned right here, hey, we put in a lower low on or a lower high on this day than we did here. I said, hey, just be cautious. Um, I was talking to Jeff this morning, and you know, we talked about it, and this market, it just has a way of kind of giving you a second chance to exit positions. It also, kind of gives the bull trap at the same time, right? So even though this should have been a signal to, hey, we're probably going to be moving into a downtrend, we get this bounce here, we start seeing some upwards price, and you think, oh no, it's not gonna happen. But then again, we put in a lower high here, a lower high here. Not only that, but that's a double top. Think of it just like a double bottom. It's gonna, double bottom pushes the price up, double top pushes the price down, and here we are. I went ahead and measured out a few things. I know I talked about that 33.3 number last night. It hit it. And then like I said to Arturo, that was just a oversold bounce. Period. There is no bullish divergence, no nothing that would suggest that would continue. And as we're watching as we're watching this screen, you can see that this is now fallen as well. Same concept. We're just getting a bounce there. Realistically, this is going to put in a lower low here. I fully expect that, and chances are pretty good it's going to be right down here into this range. That was the move that I measured. Um, uh, as far as from where did I measure that particular move from? Um, Well, either way, that was. Oh yeah, yeah. Essentially, I was looking at this as a possible head and shoulders. It actually looks that way on different time frames, but essentially that's the move I measured. So if we take this as the neckline, and then this is our measurement from the top of this to the bottom of this, boom! All of a sudden, now we're right at another resist or another support zone, about 31, 4, 500 somewhere in there. So that's where I expect that this is going to move down to. Now I'm looking at a 4 hour chart. As long as this right here, as long as this RSI right here stays higher than this RSI, but we do get a lower low, well then that will be a 4 hour bullish divergence. That'll give us at least a decent amount of return to the upside. That might be where we actually put in a bearish retest kind of up in this range, back up here in this 33,000-ish zone. A couple other things too that I was looking at, and again, if you looked at a few charts here recently, that any of the charts that had this long-term trend line that we were breaking out of, what you notice is that you ended up getting multiple retests on the exterior of that line. Well, here's one already, and then this looks to be two. So it's feasible that this could just roll on over down here, pop on back up, get a couple of full retests in. The other thing is that, and I don't think we've talked extensively about this, but we've got this rounded bottom that's forming out pretty nicely on the 4 hour. We've got pretty good respect of the trend line there. And I even talked about it yesterday. I said, hey, round the bottoms, this thing's gonna push back in. Here it is. We're pushing back into the side. Probably somewhere in the neighborhood of the next week, we're probably going to be looking at maybe something that just pushes into here without a ton of upside, and that's a feasibility. We got a lot of, the volume nodes here would suggest that we got some hard work to get back to the upside again. Just kind of looking at this. We're going to have some hard resistance here. This is all pretty good resistance there, and then very little support down here in reality. So we'll see. Then the other thing would be that let's assume for 1 second that we are going to get a full pullback out of this formation. Well, that would be this line right here. That's the one I measured out of here. So let's take a look. Yep, that measurement holds up. Maybe not perfect just because we didn't really get too many touches on that line to respect it, and that's why I didn't get caught up on that particular one. But again, assuming that we use this as our breakout point, essentially we're looking at touching down to 29,000 one more time. And to be frank, that wouldn't vastly surprise me either, because a lot of times with these rounded bottom patterns, you might get something that kicks out that maybe looks like it's going to dump, and then it's just going to rebound and right back into the pattern. It's feasible. Again, none of this stuff is guaranteed, but that's what you could look at potentially. The other side of this should be, hey, we. All right, lost my train of thought there. So yeah, as far as that part goes, the one other thing I might look at here is at least trying to put together a pattern based on what we're working with here. I like the idea of using this longer term downtrend line as a suggestion that, perhaps, this is something that we might just do some retests on. But looking at the, pattern within the pattern, good chance that something along these lines, is going to be something that we can look at, that it is kind of respecting right now, which again, that lends credence to the idea that this is going to be our low right here, right? If we get a bounce off of this potential trend line, and again, you can see it has touches, the line itself makes sense. So this is something that we can possibly look at. If you're going to try and open up a long, probably we consider it down in this range, 31-ish thousand, 31.6, somewhere in there. Otherwise, I'd probably just steer clear of the long for now, because it seems to be a questionable thing, at least in the immediate term here. Like I said, we're probably going to put in a couple more 4 hour segments where we're going to be bouncing around a little bit. Maybe this one brings us all the way down here. So be cautious out there, especially with, again, Bitcoin dominance doing what it is doing. So again, let's all keep this in mind for next time when we start talking about, hey, it's oversold. Hey, hourly bullish divergence. Probably a good time to go ahead and back off the long positions. So Uh, leave profits on the table if you gotta, over taking big L's. All right, gents, go get it.